thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? Am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies.
Ripped from the womb, been feeling the pain. If what's the doom, you feeling the same. Trapped in my mind, shit on my brain. Crack in the line, nigga born in the game. Check the timeline, I was clocking the games. Sipping fine wine, ain't no stopping me, man. Put the shit down, now I work for the Lord. Deep in the war with the One West boys. Beast in my face, bitch, come test me. Way too late, Howard done bless me. Ain't no hesitate, bitch, come at me. Sword on my waist, bitch, gon' catch heat. Carnivore nigga meat in these teeth. Dinosaur nigga wrote in these streets. Cracker in the figure boat till he squeaks. Soldier won't let him go as he leaks. Redneck in the truck on my block. He gotta let the Lord's private stock. Just to shut him up, neck gon' pop. Can't wait to wet him up, give the orders pop. Can't wait to fuck him up, make the bullshit stop. Once you pop one, just can't stop. 7, 8, 9, stack them to the top. It's not a pop gun, this bitch go blah!
White people is, you don't respect anybody's humanity except for your own. You don't respect anybody's pain except for your own. You expect Jewish people to hate Hitler and to hate the Nazis, but you can't understand why we should hate you. You can't understand that because you're not human.
I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. Dirty German Shepherd just looking at me, wonder what the motherfucking problem could be. She don't want a motherfucking problem with me. Shit is gon' end motherfucking horribly. Look me in the eyes, bitch, respect my grill. Your presence in my face rejects the chill. Your presence in this place neglects the feel. The sharpness of my blade, lovely cold steel. The warmth of the blood dripping on my wrist. The feel of the gut squishing on my fist. Shout out to Karen, you ugly bitch. Please go get Darren so his wig split. From 2 slugs, from my bitch, now that's blue love. In this bitch, we one dub. In this bitch, we shoot dumb slugs at this bitch. Hold up, let me catch my breath. Just pray to the Lord for that whole death. Just pray to my God till ain't nothing left. What I read in the sword make that whole melt. What I read in the sword, the earth felt. Kids of the Lord come back to self. Only task for the boy, maintain self. Only task for us all, play the hand that's dealt. I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. I hate you with the perfect hatred, and I can't let you make it. Clap it up, clap it up. Salam Israel, Yahweh Shah Barakatham. Officer 50 Shapar Yahweh Bun Yahweh the Bun Yasharala. Representing the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. Coming to you straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And today's Houston's Brotherhood class. So in Brotherhood, today I'm going to go over one of our many enemies. A specific enemy that's coming up in the news nowadays. A specific enemy that we have that murdered one of our brothers in broad daylight, man. A specific enemy that chose to put his knee on our brother's neck until our brother suffocated and died, man. And you will hear our enemy's people saying things like, Our brother didn't die because of the suffocation from the pressure on his neck, but he died from prior drug use that he had in his system. That he died from an overdose. Like what this oppressor did to him didn't contribute to his death. Like this oppressor's knee being on his neck didn't contribute to him losing his breath and dying. So what I did was I went through the case a little bit. I've been following this some. And I pulled up a few articles that's explaining a couple of things, man. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through these articles, man, and we're going to chop it up. We're going to look at these articles and we're going to dissect what's being said. You understand what I'm saying? In only the way the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge can do. So, let's go to that Washington Post article.
Con. Mic test, mic test.
Thawada. I think you're coming through, yeah.
This article is from the Washington Post. Title: Officer charged in George Floyd's death used fatal force before and had history of complaints.
So, this specific officer, Officer Chauvin, this isn't his first time using fatal force on a brother, man. This isn't his first time. He's had many situations where he's hurt people. You understand what I'm saying? Throw out Adawan. Go ahead, please.
The former Minneapolis police officer charged with the murder in the death of George Floyd shot one suspect.
There you go. He shot one suspect. All right? Go ahead, Adawan.
Was involved in the fatal shooting of another.
And he was involved with the fatal shooting of another suspect.
And
so here he is.
Oh, Slocky.
Where, Adawan? So here he is. He shot one suspect, and he was involved with the fatal shooting of another suspect. So Derek Carver, he's Yosemite Sam in the streets, man. He's the rootin'est, tootin'est, gun shootingest cop from the east to the west, man. He bussin'. Ain't no discussion. He straight bussin'. He is a killer. He's a killer on the streets. You understand what I'm saying? He's known for it. All right? So he shot one suspect, was involved in the fatal shooting of another. All right?
And received at least 17 complaints during his nearly 2 decades with the department.
So, out of 20 years, he shot one brother, was involved in a fatal shooting, and received 17 other complaints in 2 decades, in 20 years. I don't know if you know, but this is high for police officers. This man is a violent man. This man needs some counseling. He needs some couch time. He needs some therapy. And this is who the oppressor sends out on the streets after me and you, after my son and your son, after your cousin and my cousin. They send out hunters. They send out animals in these streets, man. And they know what they're doing. You understand? The FBI has numerous investigations to where they know that white supremacists have invaded the police forces. So America knows what it's doing, and America knows what they are sending out against us. Go ahead, Otto one, please.
Khan, according to police records and archived news reports. The information paints a fragmented picture of Derek Chauvin, who was fired from the Minneapolis Police Department and arrested after video emerged this week showing him kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes.
So, after all this murder and mayhem he's been committing for 20 years, it took live video of him murdering our brother. It took live video of the look in his eyes, live video of the way that he put all his weight down on that one knee that was on our brother's neck. It took live video of all of this for them to finally fire him. If it wasn't for this particular video, he would still be out in the streets harassing and hurting our people, man. Chasing our sons. Shooting our brothers. You understand what I'm saying? And America, the FBI, the police stations, they all know it. They can't wash their hands and say that they're innocent, that they don't know these things, and these type of police officers are after us. Could you give me a water, y'all become, please? Go ahead, all the ones, water.
Khan. The department on Friday declined multiple requests to provide details on Chauvin's use of force history, but local media reports from the time of the previous incident cite police confirming Chauvin's involvement.
So you know what that means. The department declined to open up his prior details on his use of force history. Because they didn't want to show it, you can be certain that it's nothing good. You understand what I'm saying? They don't want to show it because it's probably all black people that he's harassing. If it was anything that would work in his favor, they would be quick to show it. But they don't want to show it, so you can be damn near guaranteed that it ain't nothing good, man. Straight up. And they let him run rampant for 20 years. 20 years. The water, sir. And it wasn't until they got irrefutable evidence on camera of him forcing his knee into a brother's throat that they decided to do anything about this animal, man. And don't think it stops with just him. Don't think he's the only one. These police departments are full of animals just like this. Hunting us, man. Hunting us down in the streets on the necks of the 12 tribes of Israel, man. That's why it is a must for us to come together. Because we are the nation that is undesired, man. So we have to come together to protect ourselves. That's what the Bible says, and that's what's obvious that we must do. Go ahead, I don't want Baba Shah.
Khan. A summary of the complaints against Chauvin posted by the department offers no information on why they were filed, and police declined to comment on the nature of the cases. 16 of the complaints were closed without discipline. The remaining complaint resulted in 2 letters of reprimand against Chauvin, according to the summary.
So 16 of them. 16 complaints of excessive force was closed without discipline. They just said, file it away. It's all right. It's all right, he beat him. It's all right, he slammed her to the ground and probably knocked her teeth out. It's all right, we'll just close him. Get that out of the way. It's all right if he's out there torturing the 12 tribes. It's all right. 16 of them were closed, man. Without discipline. And he got 2 letters of reprimand. Two letters. So in 20 years of terrorism, all he got was 2 letters. And nobody wanted to say nothing about it until he was caught with his knee in a brother's neck. This is America. This is the land of your captivity. Don't ever think of this place as home. We have to get with Commander General YAHANNA and get under a priest and a prophet of the I.S.U.P.K, man, so we can learn what we need to do to go home, man. So we don't have to worry about Derek Chauvin anymore. So we won't have to watch videos of Oppressor sticking his knee in our brother's necks for 8, 9, 10 minutes until the brother's dead, man. So there won't be obvious video of him murdering our brother, and there still be a trial, man. Because 2 white sheets don't bleed on each other. They're still looking for a way to let him go, man. Go ahead, Adawan.
God. Complaints against police can range from relatively benign issues, such as showing up late for duty to serve offenses, such as using excessive force. Ronald Serpas, a former head of police in New Orleans, Nashville, and Washington State, said it was difficult to draw conclusions about Chauvin's complaint file without more information, but noted that 17 appeared to be higher than average.
Now, he said it's difficult to say what his complaints were about, but 17 complaints is higher than average. They want it to be difficult. They don't want you to know. They want to be able to say that maybe his complaints were only about him being late. Now, you know that's not true, because if his complaints were only about him being late, they would open it up and let you see that his complaints are only about being late, him being late. But they're hiding his complaints. That's how you know that his complaints are so much more sinister, man. That's how you know something so much more disgusting was going on, man. That people were complaining about for 17, 20 years, man. And it was ignored. And by them ignoring these constant complaints, led up to the death of our brother, man. The white man is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of, man.
That's right.
There's no other way to explain it, man. There's nothing else that you can say, man. There's nothing else that you can think. There's no other way around it if he's not who is. Can I get some more out of one, Papa Chef? It's a little unusual.
It's a little unusual to have essentially one a year for Slaki. It's a little unusual to have essentially one a year for 19 years. Cephas told the Washington Post. That's a concern, even if he was late every time. it would certainly catch my attention.
So he said, even if it was just him being late every time was worthy of attention. See what I'm saying? Even if it was the least, those complaints were the least that they could be, it would still be worthy of attention because all of those complaints over that amount of time is unusual. You understand what I'm saying? Which we know for a fact that it wasn't just about him being late. People would not call in and complain on the officer because he was late, man. People call in on the officer because he's being an animal. Because he's acting like an untamed beast, man. Because he's losing his mind. Because he's oppressing our people, man. That's why those officers get phone calls. That's why the police stations get complaints about officers, not because he's late. I mean, who the hell got time to call the police? We don't like call the police anyway. Who the hell got time to call the police and say, hey, the officer was late? We've been on the police gonna show up late to our spots since the 80s. I dialed 911 a long time ago. Don't you know they come when they wanna? There's nothing new about officers being late. They've always been late. So for them to try to say his complaints was about him being late, brothers and sisters, they think you stupid, man. And it offends me. Because I know my people, and we ain't about to call no police station because the police was late, man. Right. We expect them to be late. Right. They're always late. Because they don't care about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They don't care about helping you. They don't care about solving your crimes. They don't care about you being comfortable in your neighborhoods. They don't care. All they want to do is lock you up and oppress you and put their knee in your neck. A little bit more out of one, Papa Sir.
God. Give me 1 second. Chauvin, a 44-year-old white man, pressed his knee on Floyd's neck as he and other officers arrested the 46-year-old black man on suspicion of forgery May 25th. Floyd, who was handcuffed, died in police custody after telling officers repeatedly, "I cannot breathe." His death set off a wave of protesters and riots in Minneapolis and other cities, and reignited long-standing calls for greater police accountability.
So here we are today. If you watch the news, we're watching the trial. You're watching your oppressors trying to let their brother off for killing one of our brothers. Now, this trial isn't set up to convict him. Convicting him is the fight. It's set up to let him go free. That's why he gets certain charges. That's why they bring up certain things. That's why the jury looks the way it looks. I'm just gonna guess. I haven't looked at the jury. I can probably guarantee it's an all-white jury. To where they're gonna say, oh, look, he was on drugs. He deserved to die with a knee in his neck. The nigger was on drugs. It's set up for him to go free. Go ahead, Alon.
Yeah, I got a precept for you, man. This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 18. I don't know if you got that in your lesson or not. You got it in there? Yeah, this is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened in every neighborhood. Every time you get in your car, man, they hunt our steps. Like everywhere you go, they got oppressors, you know what I'm saying, just waiting to catch us, man.
Just waiting.
Just waiting. You know what I'm saying? They got, they got it set up to where they got speed traps in the hood. You know what I'm saying? They just hide behind stuff. They got liquor stores. As soon as you come out of liquor store, they pulling you over because they think you already drinking and drunk. You know what I'm saying? They give you sobriety tests for coming out of a gas station. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. In Lake Charles, where I'm from, they'll set up sobriety checkpoints right down the street from all the black clubs. Now there's this white club called Cowboys in Lake Charles. And I'm telling you, brother, the more DUI accidents happen in front of that club and down the street from that club, it would drive you crazy to see the amount of DUIs that happen at this club. But there's never a DUI checkpoint in front of that club. It shows you who they're hunting, man. They're not trying to uphold the law. They're trying to entrap certain people. And those certain people that they want to entrap is the 12 tribes of Israel, man. That's the blacks, Native Americans, and the Hispanics of this world. That's why Commander General YAHANNA has raised up soldiers, man. Has raised up priests and prophets, man. For a people that the world hates. To sit here and break this down for you, man. To sit here and try to tell you what you're up against. And that, listen, brothers and sisters, listen. And that the only thing that can help you is the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord, man. That's it. You have to do what the Lord wants you to do. You have to become that people. And again, you hear me saying it over and over again, man, because it's the truth. The only way you can figure out and learn how to be that people is in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of General YAHANNA, man. You can't go to the left. You can't go to the right. You have to come straight through that narrow path. And that narrow path is to get your ass in all black, man. Put your boots on, man. That's the only way we will ever defeat this place. Go down a couple of verses where Santa Maria described Chauvin. The second to last.
Con.
You see it?
In Minneapolis, Chauvin and Floyd's worlds overlap. Both worked security at El Nuevo Rodeo, a Latin nightclub in the southeastern part of the city, according to a former owner, Maya Santa Maria. The pair may not have known each other. The venue's security staff outnumbered in dozens, Santa Maria said, and Chauvin worked outside while Floyd worked inside. Chauvin had been there 17 years. Floyd much less than that.
Go ahead, I want this last one.
Santa Maria described Chauvin as a nice guy who was always mellow around her. but she said, Slacky, but he said was also tightly wound.
But
I'm
he
extreme.
was also tightly wound. He was also tightly wound. He knew how to act right at work. But under him acting right, he was tightly wound. It was a madman under there. You understand what I'm saying? He was calm. He would say, yes, sir, no, sir. But when his anger got up a little bit, he would snap. Tightly wound means short-tempered. You understand what I'm saying? This is the thing that was set loose on our people. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Here, I'll text you the articles. Slocky, give me 1 second. Con out of one con.
Khan, it says, I am extremely disappointed that a good friend of mine will be the culprit of this horrible crime, she told the Washington Post. Recently, there was tension in the precinct where the club was located, Santa Maria said, especially when the club started catering to the African American community.
There you go. There was tension in the precinct where the club was located when the club started catering to the African American community. There was tension in the precinct because the police didn't want the club to start catering to African Americans. Right? So that's telling you that the precinct felt a specific way about black people. Derek Chauvin was a part of the precinct. So what's that telling you about him? He had a problem, man. Now you can't tell me that this oppressor hadn't seen the brother before. They work in the same place. They had to walk past each other. At the time he put his knee in the man's neck, in George Floyd's neck, he knew George Floyd. You can hear him calling George Floyd by his name. He had probably been wanting to murder this brother. He probably been wanting to do this brother something, man. And finally he got his chance. Because the precinct, including Derek Chauvin, was in an uproar about the club starting to serve African Americans. So imagine, imagine what Floyd was a new employee. This club just started serving black people. Here she goes, she hires George Floyd. Derek Chauvin had been there years. Imagine what it was, what the conversation was between him and his other co-workers about her finally hiring this black man.
Salaki, if I may, to stick him outside, like you are the police officer, you're a commissioner, you're the one that's supposed to be inside.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine the anger. It already said he was tightly wound. Imagine the conversation and the anger that was aimed at George Floyd. And finally, the oppressor got his chance. I finally get to get that nigga. But these aren't the things that they're gonna tie together in this case, man. Because the case isn't to convict him, it's to set him free. That's the point in the case. We seen him murder the man on live TV. The whole world watched him murder the brother. And there's a case. That's how you know the case is to set him free and not convict him. He should already be convicted. America lets bloodthirsty animals out in the streets to hunt us down, man. And America knows what it's doing. And they don't care. It's just every now and again, one of the bloodthirsty animals happens to kill a brother in such a way. Yahawanan, could you give the sister a mic? Happens to kill the brother in such a bloodthirsty way that it cannot be ignored, and they have to do some type of PR.
Salakia, sir, I hate to say this, but you already know that it's gonna, even if the jury has at least one black person and he don't get convicted, you already know you're gonna have the white people saying, oh, well, it was one black person, so it wasn't prejudice, it wasn't discrimination, you know, the trial was fair. That's besides the point. He should already be in jail. Because if the roles were
be in jail.
and if it was a black police officer and George Floyd was white,
he would already be in jail. Exactly, sis. That's why that's why I say the trial isn't to convict him, it's to let him free. Because he should already be locked up. It's obvious he murdered a brother. We watched it. The earth watched it. It wasn't just Minneapolis that went up in flames. Earth went up in flames. The world watched him kill the brother. And we have a trial? Come on, man. Don't be surprised if he walks away free or gets a slap on the wrist. You're going to get 10 years, 5 years with good behavior. He going to get to write a book. When he come out, white supremacists all over going to buy the book. He's going to become a millionaire. White supremacists are going to give him hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars if they haven't given it to him already. The pants, with the knee part of the pants that he put in our brother's neck, that's going to sell for $5 million on eBay. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to be able to collect all that Lucci, all that confetti, once he get through doing his 5 years. Justice served. All one.
Gone.
Let's yeah, we can still go. Go ahead. Could you give me some more?
Gone. I could feel the racial tension, she said. I could feel the racism. The cops, the 3rd precinct, even the Minneapolis licensing inspectors. They were hating on me for bringing that element into the neighborhood.
Because she was letting brothers because she was letting black people come to her club. Because she didn't want to be racist anymore, because she didn't want to be segregated anymore. She got heat from the police. Who else said? The police, the cops, the third precinct, and the licensing inspectors. They tried to take her license away because she was letting black people come to her club and enjoy themselves. But they want you to think that Derek Chauvin never knew his black co-worker. They want you to think that Derek Chauvin never knew George Floyd when he murdered him. They want you to believe that it was just random, just something that happened, that Derek Chauvin didn't say, that's that nigga that work inside while I work outside. I'm gonna kill him. I've been wanting to get him. Now's my chance. They don't want you to think that happened, man. Oh, I know him. I know that nigger right there. That's that old uppity nigger. Here's my chance to take care of him. They don't want you to think that happened. If the presence, if the club owner got all this heat from letting black people come into her club, imagine the heat with the employees when she hired a black man. Think about it. That cop knew exactly who Big Brother was, man. He knew exactly what he was doing. He killed that brother on purpose. Put his goddamn knee in the brother's neck for 8 minutes, man. And look, we're going to go into their training. Because they like to say, well, police just need more training. We're going to go into their training. Let's drop that out of one. I'm getting my blood pressure going up. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Let's go to NPR.org. I think this is the one.
The source is NPR.org. The title is Police Expert Testifies About Medical Support and Trial of Derek Chauvin. Officer Nicole McKenzie, the medical support coordinator with the Minneapolis Police Department, was the third witness called on Tuesday afternoon in the trial of Derek Chauvin. Chauvin is facing charges of murder and manslaughter in George Floyd's death last May. McKenzie, who trains officers in medical support, was asked by defense attorney Eric Nelson about agonal breathing, which can occur in people in distress, such as a medical emergency. McKenzie explained that agonal breathing is not effective breathing, but rather irregular gasp for air.
So this witness is explaining agonal breathing, which is what George Floyd was doing while he had a knee in his throat. It's not regular breathing. You're just gasping for air, man. You're struggling to breathe. You're sitting there, you got your hands tied behind your back. You're laying on your chest on the cement. You got one cop got his knee in your neck, one cop laying on your back. You're sitting there gasping for air, begging these sick animals to let you breathe. So you're breathing like this. Gasping, fighting to keep life in your body, man. This is what this brother went through, man. And they want to tell me America has changed. They want to look me in my face and they want me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. They want me to stand for the anthem. When this brother was fucking hogtied, man, on his chest, with his hands behind his back, gasping for air. And the people that's committed to protecting him and serving him are the ones killing him, man. On live TV, he's murdered. Murdered. And there's a trial. When there shouldn't even be a trial. He should have went straight to the pen, man. That's what would have happened if the shoe was on the other foot, man. Because the trial isn't to convict him, it's to let him go. Because two white sheets don't bleed on each other. So why are we out here bleeding on each other? Why can't we see that we are not each other's enemies, brothers and sisters? Why can't we share brotherhood? Why can't we love each other? When you're hated by so many, when you have so many enemies, you don't need to be each other's enemies. These tribes must come together. There's blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We must come together, man. And get under our King YAHANNA and learn what our God wants us to do. The way the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA teaches it, man. Come on, other one. The water.
God. Nelson asks if it can be confused with effective breathing. It can be easily confused with real breathing. So that's why we teach this is not effective breathing, Mackenzie said. Nelson asks whether certain circumstances where there's a lot of noise or a lot of commotion would make it more likely than an officer might misinterpret agonal breathing with effective breathing. Yes, Mackenzie replied.
So, yes, there being a large crowd, it is hard for you to determine whether he's breathing effectively or if he's breathing agonal breathing. You understand? But common sense will tell you that he's not effectively breathing with his hands handcuffed behind his back, lying on his chest with a grown man on his neck and another grown man on his back. Who can breathe like that? We are not stupid, man. Especially in the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. We are not gullible. Can't nobody breathe like that. They're handcuffed behind their back. You got a ape on his neck and an orangutan on his back. Two beasts on his back. and you expect him to have effective breathing. No, man, the brother's gasping for air. Go ahead, Alan. The water.
Con. Prosecutor Steve Schleicher asked McKenzie whether officers are taught that if a person can talk, that means that they can breathe.
Now, this is the famous line. If you can talk, you can breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. If you can talk, boy, you can breathe. That's their famous line. And he's asking if that's something that officers are taught. The next line, out of one, please.
No, sir.
What?
No, sir, McKenzie replied.
Say it one more time, out of one.
No, sir, McKenzie replied.
No, they're not taught that. That's something oppressors say to cover up the fact that they're murdering you. Go ahead, I don't want.
Why not? That would be incomplete to say, because there is a possibility somebody could be in respiratory distress and still being able to verbalize it. Just because they are speaking does not mean that they are breathing adequately, she said.
This is their trainer. This is their trainer saying this. This is the woman that trains the police saying this. So they know. He knew he was killing Big George. He knew he was murdering George Floyd, man. He knew it. He knew what he was doing. All of them knew it. It was a lady that was a paramedic that was there while they was doing this. And she told them. She tried to stop them. Did he stop? No, he ground his knee deeper in the brother's neck. He knew that knee patch on them motherfuckers. He knew that knee patch on them pants was gonna be worth millions. Come on, I don't want the water.
Schleicher also followed up on the notion raised by the defense and confirmed by McKenzie that a hostile crowd could make it more difficult for someone to render medical aid. Do the activities of a group of onlookers excuse a police officer from the duty to render emergency medical aid to a subject who needs it? Schleicher asked. McKenzie replied, only if they were physically getting themselves involved, I would say.
So the police like to say, well, we couldn't help them because of the crowd. The crowd was too thick. We couldn't help them. Here's their trainer saying the only way they couldn't help is if the crowd was stopping them from helping. The crowd that was at this scene while George Floyd was being murdered by two animals was trying to help Floyd. So no, this crowd was not stopping the police from helping Floyd. They were trying to make the police help Floyd. They were angry because the police were not helping Floyd. They murdered him. Derek Chauvin murdered the brother, man. They murdered him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. And we got to sit here. We saw it on TV. We saw everything happen. And you got to sit here and wonder if justice is going to be served. If this ain't hell, tell me what hell is. If you don't have little red devils poking you with pitchforks every day in this place. I don't know where else it'll happen at. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, Ottawa.
If the officer was physically prevented from doing it, Schleicher asks, yes, if an officer was physically assaulted, McKenzie said. McKenzie was dismissed for the day and asked to return next week during the defense's portion of the trial.
Oops, get her out of here. That didn't go right. Gotta get her out of here. Go home with it. See you next week. Don't come back to this case till next week. It didn't work. White man's the devil.
It's like if I may, they was asking us, so that means that the officer couldn't stop and help. You know what I'm saying? If only way he couldn't help is if he was physically getting pulled or physically being harmed at that time. But nobody was around. The Moabite officer had everybody blocked off.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So he was very well aware and very well capable of rendering aid.
Very well capable. Now, watch this next one. Let's go to the next one. We're going to put together this next one. Check this one out. If this don't make your blood pressure pop, I don't know. If you don't halfway have a stroke after we get finished breaking this one down, you don't love your people. I'm sorry. Usually I'd have a drink. I can't. I can't. No, sis. No. This is it angers me so much that there's a trial. It's disgusting, man. It makes me sick that they expect us to love them more than we love ourselves. That the consensus is that it's wrong for the UPK to say we only love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That we're wrong for that, for not loving them. When every day of our lives, all we face is constant hate, man. Constant hate from them. They're constantly spitting in our face. They say the Lord say turn the other cheek. Why don't you stop slapping me in the face? I ain't got but 2 cheeks to turn. You've been slapping me every day for 400 years. When will we get smart and pull away from this? When will we learn to love each other and stop killing each other in the streets? Learn that we need to be a strong nation of men and women and stop murdering our babies in Planned Parenthood. What's it gonna take? It's because you're sleeping, man. And you don't want to wake up. I understand. It's hard to deal with the reality of what's going on with blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. But you got to deal with it, man. You have to. And you have to work hard to become something else, to become something better. Did you pull up the third article, Ottawa? The foxnews.com. No, you got it.
This is Fox News. Title: Derek Chauvin trial. Was officer's knee on George Floyd's neck authorized? It says a critical factor for jurors to consider at a former Minneapolis police officer's trial in George Floyd's death is whether he violated the department's policy on neck restraints when he knelt on Floyd's neck. The Minneapolis Police Department banned all forms of neck restraints and chokeholds weeks after after Floyd's death. But at the time of his May 25th arrest by Derek Chauvin and other officers, certain neck restraints were permitted, provided certain guidelines and conditions were followed.
Okay, so until the world got to see our brothers murdered on live TV, they still allow brothers to get choked out by police. But the police had certain guidelines and rules that they had to follow. Right? So let's look at the policy. Go ahead, Otto one. What neck restraints did the Minneapolis police authorize?
What neck restraints did Minneapolis police authorize? The department policy, in place for at least 8 years at the time, divided permissible neck restraints into two categories, according to court filings and testimony Monday by the city police chief, Madaria Arredondo. Neck restraints were defined in the policy as a non-deadly force option. One, called a conscious neck restraint, was for light pressure applied to the neck to help control a person without rendering unconsciousness. It was permitted for a person actively resisting. The other was an unconscious neck restraint, in which officers could use their arms or legs to knock out a person by pressing carotid arteries on either side of the neck, blocking blood flow to the brain. The policy called for it to be used only for a person exhibiting active aggression or actively resisting when lesser attempts to control the person had failed or were likely to fail.
So there's two types of neck restraints. You can grab brother by the neck. You can do it light, right? Come here. Calm down. Be good. I don't want to put the Cobra clutch on you. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Then there's the super neck restraint. The figure four headlock. Grab you, lock you in, press on the carotid artery, knock you out. That's when you cutting the fool. They're only supposed to use that, right? Keep going, sir. Thank you.
Police guidelines also instructed officers at the first possible opportunity to turn people on their sides once they were handcuffed and under control to avoid positional asphyxia.
All right. Police guidelines also instructed officers at the first possible opportunity to turn people on their sides once they were handcuffed and under control to avoid positional asphyxia. Once you got them handcuffed, once you got them restrained, turn them on the side so he can breathe. George Floyd was handcuffed. Wasn't putting up a fight. He was handcuffed, laying on the ground, had a cop on his back, and a cop with his knee in his neck. This man was murdered. Their training tells them once you have him restrained, once he's in handcuffs, turn him on his side so he can breathe. George Floyd said, "I can't breathe," several times. Cried for his mother as they suffocated him for 9 minutes. My question to you is, why only Chauvin? Why is Derek Chauvin the only one in trial? Why? Where's the other officers? This was a tag team effort. You got two officers. One of them could have had sense and brung this up. Hey, you have him restrained. Turn him on his side so he can breathe. It was 3 or 4 of them there, right? Yeah, I know for a fact you had 2 on his back, and you had that Asian. Stop Asian hate, by the way. Asian ain't stopped the brother from getting murdered, huh? Did the Asian turn around and say, hey, turn him on the side the way I train and say turn him on the side? You have him handcuffed. Did the Asian stop black hate? Let them get it. It's theirs. They deserve it. I wish I would open my mouth talking about stop some Asian hate, the way they treat our sisters in the wig shops. A few days ago, my rib, my rib, my spirit, you know what I'm saying? Had an Asian and a Hamite, they went to the hair shop, her and another sister, they went to the hair shop. Had an Asian and a Hamite trying to restrain the sister, telling the sister she stole. My rib being who she is, goes ham, goes nuts. You understand? Let her go. Get your hands off of her. She make me proud sometimes, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's right. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite, man. She ain't scared of nothing, man. But goddamn, baby. Calm down. You know what I'm saying? Let me be around. You know, to do it when I'm around. Then you can go completely nuts, and don't nobody better not do you nothing. But don't do it when I'm at the house. So get your hands off of her. So the Asian and the Hamite constantly accusing the sister of stealing. The sister opens her purse, shows them that she has nothing in her purse, pulls up a shirt, shows them that they have nothing. They're harassing this sister just because she's a sister. Right. Ain't nobody black stealing nothing, man. We got stimulus checks. Right. Black people got some money. The sister probably had 2, 3 kids, man. That's 4,000 something. What you think she in there, you know what I'm saying? But they hate us so much that they can't think of you not wanting to steal. You understand what I'm saying? And it's disgusting. So why do we have to be everybody's friend, man? When everybody hate us, man. When everybody treat us like we the worst of the worst of the worst. Kill us in broad daylight. Accuse us of stealing when we ain't stealing nothing. Why, man? Why we gotta stop Asian hate? Why we gotta do that? Hey, Asians, You stop Asian hate. Don't nobody step up for us. We got to stop black hate, Native American hate, Hispanic hate. Fight your own damn battles. We too busy fighting ours. Give me some more. I don't want the water.
God. In which breathing becomes labored in a prone position and can be led to death. The city had pledged to emphasize to officers the dangers of positional asphyxia as part of a $3 million settlement in the 2010 death of David Smith.
All right. So, in 2010, they killed another man the same way they killed Floyd. Since 2010, it's been part of their training to not do the things that these officers done to Big Floyd. It's been part of their training. Once you get him handcuffed and get him, you know what I'm saying, straight, turn him on his side so he can breathe. He should have never said, I can't breathe, man. He should have never had to have say, I cannot breathe. Because since 2010, they've been trained to not make that happen. Go ahead, sis.
Here called High School for Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice.
Oh, yeah?
And they have a department called the Explorers. They basically teach you what the cops learn. They teach you that at the high school. Basic. Seriously. Like, they teach you how to use handcuffs. They teach you how to say the rights. Like, you have the right to remain silent and anything you say can't. Yeah, they teach you all of that. They even teach you how to handle someone when they're on the ground.
They teach you to turn them on the side?
Yes, they teach you that at the high school. I kid you not. High School for Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice.
Derek Floyd was murdered. These officers knew exactly what they were doing. They knew not to do it. They knew what would happen if they did it. And they did it. And we have a trial. Go ahead, brother. Let's read the rest of what they did to this brother.
Minneapolis officers subdued Smith with a taser and pinned him face down on the floor for several minutes with their knees on his back. Training manuals also instructed officers to be attentive to whether a suspect was having difficulty breathing. Chauvin and the other officers never turned Floyd on his side, even as he said he couldn't breathe 27 times before his body went limp.
Wow, man. Wow. But oppressors, the people that we live under, will argue you down that Floyd wasn't murdered. So, you got Chauvin. Work with Floyd. Let's piece this together. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you got Chauvin. Work with George Floyd at a bar, right? This bar went nuts. The whole town went nuts once this bar started letting black people come to it, right? Now they hire a brother to work at this, what you can safely assume was a racist bar. So there is no way, if this bar just letting black people in it raises such an uproar to where the licensing people want to take away their license, and just because black people coming to the bar, that their racist employees didn't notice this big giant 6 foot big floor about 6'4", 250, 260 pound nigga start working there, and he's working in the inside in the AC while they outside sweating or cold, or they didn't notice that. They didn't say what white people always say. Damn affirmative action.
Right.
He knew George Floyd. He had a beef with George Floyd. He was tightly wound. Right? He finally got his chance to get him a little piece of the big black man. He got the big black man down, put his knee in his neck, 8-9 minutes. He knew what was going to happen. He ignored everything that he was supposed to do. He knew he was suffocating and choking his brother out. He murdered the brother. Purposely. Go ahead, sis.
Yes, sir. But if he was one of us, they would have tried to charge him for premeditated murder.
Yes. Yes. But see, what they do is the court system play a game. You know, they have all these different kind of charges for murder, right? Murder 1, 2, 3, premeditated, all of that. They picked to the prosecutors picked to the DA picked to they picked the murder charge that will be hardest to prove, to put on the cop. For instance, if murder 3, they say, oh well, murder 3 would be the hardest to prove, so they charge him with murder 3 to make it harder to prove that it was murder 3. He's not on trial to go to jail. He's on trial to be set free. In the great words of one of my worldly heroes, Nino Brown, it's the American way. So why are you still joined to him? Why are you still friends with Bob at work? Why are you still going to Gina's house for a casserole with raisins in it? Why? Gina's, I cooked fried chicken today. I know you like fried chicken. Why don't you come over? And you go cooning your ass on over to eat Gina's fried chicken that the cat done licked on.
Right.
Gina hates you, man. Bob hates you. They just want you to come over so they can say, my black friend. That's what you are. You're their black friend. You're the one reason they're not racist. I'm not racist. Him. I got him. And you just... Come on, Ottawa. Let me try to get done with this, man.
God. Chauvin attorney Eric Nelson, in a pretrial filing, said Chauvin followed policy and did exactly as he was trained to do.
So this, out of all of that, this devilish, demonic attorney say he did all that he was trained to do. He was not trained to put his knee in that man's neck for 9 minutes after he was handcuffed without turning him on his side so he can breathe, without letting the man breathe, man. That's not his training. That's not what he was trained to do. What he did was what so many white supremacist police officers do. He got his chance and he went for it. And now, because two white sheets don't bleed on each other, he's having a trial to let him off. It's the American way. What you expect? What else you expect from America? You don't look at the history. They looked at Big George history. You don't look at America's history to expect America to be what America is. Your enemy, something that hates you. All right, I don't want to know.
God. The filing included a photo and department training materials of a trainer with a knee on the neck of an instructor playing a suspect. Prosecutors have already put supervisory officers on the stand to testify that even if Chauvin pinning Floyd with his knee fell within policy, doing so for 9 minutes, 29 seconds did not, Salaki. In their pretrial filing, they said Chauvin and two other officers held their positions for 4 minutes after Floyd lost consciousness, and 2 minutes beyond when he no longer had a pulse.
Look, man, the brother was knocked out, and they still didn't put him in the recovery position. He lost consciousness, and they stayed on him for 4 more minutes. You ever watch boxing? You watch boxing? How long is a round of boxing?
3 minutes.
You know how long that is?
Right.
I just want you to say, a round of boxing is 3 minutes. And that's a long time, man. It said he lost consciousness. That means he's not fighting. He's not struggling. He's not moving. He's out. And they stayed on him for 4 minutes. After he didn't have a pulse anymore, they stayed on him for 2 more minutes. They made sure our brother was dead. It was no way that this brother was ever going to come back to life, and they made sure of it. And we have a trial. What do you think they're saying to our people? This is terrorism, man. This trial is terrorism. That you got to sit here as a black man, woman, or child and see this trial. That even though it was a blatant murder, they're still trying to find a way to let the murderer go. This place is disgusting, man. That's why it's going to burn. And I'm going to do everything I can by not using drugs, by not eating pork, by not being a whoremonger, by living by the law, statutes, and commandments, and doing what my King YAHANNA tells me to do, and following the Commander General YAHANNA and the priests and the prophets of the I.S.U.P.K. because I wanted to burn righteously. For all the things that George Floyd went through, for the things my mama went through, for the things my grandmother went through, from the crack my daddy smoked, to the oppression and the hate my grandfather went through trying to keep a job, to the things you done to my ancestors that I don't know of because you kept my family so separated that I don't know my history.
Right.
I'm going to clean up my life. I'm going to live right. I'm going to serve the poor because I want vengeance.
That's right.
Let me sum it up with a couple of Bible verses out of one so I can get you out of here. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust, and not before the saints?
That's right, man. Why would our people turn in each other? IUIC. Why would you turn your brother into the law? Baby mama. Why would you take your baby daddy? Why would you call the police on him? Because you mad at him. When you know that they only want to murder us, that they only want to stick their knee in our necks, that that's their goal. That's what they wake up in the morning, and that's what they want to do. Why would you go to the unjust on your brother where you know the police departments are full of white supremacists? It's because you don't love your brother. And you want your brother dead. Now, blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, what you need to do is get into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. That way, if you have a problem, you have someone to call. You can call the priests and the prophets. Me and my rib get into an argument. The argument doesn't have to boil over. I have brothers that's above me that I can call to help squelch the argument. If I was to ever raise my hand to my rib, there are brothers in this school that she can call that will come and use the number 2 chokehold on a nigga. You understand what I'm saying? But they won't kill me. And that's what we have to do. We have to become a nation, man. Because we are the only ones that will be right with us. That'll have some compassion. That's not out to murder us, man. Let's go to Psalms chapter 10, verse 8.
Con, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor.
That is officer friendly. He's sitting in the dark. He's full of white supremacy. He's waiting on his chance. His eyes are set on the poor because he wants to kill you. He's just waiting on his chance to spring into action like Batman and put his knee on your neck 4 minutes after you're unconscious, 2 minutes after you're dead. He's just sitting there waiting till you slip up and don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Wait until you go in the store and you steal something. Wait till he pull you over and catch you with some weed in your car. Wait till he see you on the block and he catch you with one crack rock in your pocket. Just waiting. Wait until he catch you in that net so he can kill you. Because that's what he wants. He wants you either dead or locked up. Simple as that, man. And with that, I'm going to turn the class over to Officer Ron. Trooper Y.A.P.K. Salaki. I'm going to turn the class over to Trooper Y.A.P.K.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, and Malachi 3 and 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew. Ma'asharah, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Passover, 14th day of the first month. Saturday, April 24th, 2021. From the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and 1 through 51, Leviticus 23 and 4 through 5, and 1 Corinthians 5 and 7 through 8, and 2 Chronicles 30 and 17. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And these are the security announcements. Separate announcement. Brothers and sisters, Google search the school prior to, and select it. Google search the school and request directions prior to departure to school. Once arrived, click website button. If you have pictures, you can upload them here. And that concludes the announcements.
Majim, please stand. Give a courteous salute to the brothers and the sisters. Men of Israel, Majim Shabbat, Majim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah, Yazmatah, Saw, face the sisters, courteous salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Majim Shabbat, Majim, Barak, Yahweh Talk. Dismissed. Please hold on talking to the Passover commercialist finish.
Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Brakatha. Yahweh Shemal Ladon Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. I'm Prince and Captain Yatazak with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, telling you to come out to the 52nd annual Passover under Commanding General YAHANNA. Yeah, man, it's going to be at the ranch, man, the BH Ranch. And it's going to be a glorious event. April 24th, come out, come to Houston, Texas, where we're going to serve the Lord the way he's supposed to be served. You understand? We're going to celebrate the destruction of our enemies in the BH Ranch, and it's going to be a glorious event. Make sure you come out, man. It's going to be a $200 fee to get in, but let me tell you something. You're going to enjoy yourself. This is going to be the best event you've ever been to in your life. So I'm going to tell you, man, 1414-9 Player Street, come out, man, and enjoy the brotherhood and sisterhood under Christ. With that, shalom.
Shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Brakatha. Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Latha Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. What's going on, Israel's Priest Officer 5,000 times a day out here in Houston, Texas. On April 22nd, you understand, it's the annual slaughter of the lambs. You understand, it's going to be a righteous event. You understand, we're going to do something that's righteous and holy unto the Lord, something that's biblical. Out here at Hamazah Farm, you understand, 9022 Puritan Way, Rocheron, Texas. You understand, brothers, sisters, you understand, bring your family out. You understand, it's going to be a righteous event. It's something we're going to do for the Lord. Shalom, Israel.